Your life will have so much less stress if you just assume stupidity.
Introducing the Paramena Bliss Podcast, a show dedicated to unraveling the mysteries of achieving optimal health naturally as you transition into perimenopause and menopause. Get ready to join your host, Dr. Seth Yates, an experienced naturopathic doctor, acupuncturist, and kinesiologist, as he shares his wealth of knowledge acquired from over 40,000 patient visits and 15 years in working with perimenopausal females. Welcome to the Paramena Bliss Podcast.
Hey, this is Doc Yates. Welcome to the Paramena Bliss Podcast. This is a short episode today. Thanks for joining me on my drive home from clinic. And I want to talk about the benefits of assuming stupidity over sinister. And what I'm talking about here is that there's so many times where things have happened that have offended us. Someone's cut us off in traffic. Someone said something unthoughtful to us. Someone has done something that has hurt our feelings. Who knows what it was? And we assume that it was done from a sinister motive, out of malice, out of contempt for us. When really, 95% of the time, it was probably done because of human error, i.e. stupidity. Someone not thinking about it. Someone caught up in their own thoughts and not thinking about you. But this constant twisting everything, changing it from stupidity to sinister is actually so much worse for us. It's so much worse for us because most of the stress that comes from that is from the stress that we bring on ourselves then, not because of what these other people have done or said to us. So, why do you want to think about this? Number one, the added stress. The added stress is not worth it because you then start dwelling, you're like, on it. You're like, oh, I can't believe they said this. Wonder what they were meaning by this. And you start thinking about all of these underlying scenarios and people are thinking about what they should have said back to get back at. If you assume the person said it in error or they just weren't thinking at the time when they said it, then that's the end of the conversation. You don't dwell on any of those things. You go to bed at night and it's already out of your mind. The second problem is that when you're thinking that when people are saying something directly out of malice, it's also coming out of your own ego. That means that you are thinking that this person, and you are much of a centerpiece in their world, that they've had to go out and plan and dedicate time and effort to do something to get you, when chances are you probably weren't even a blip on the radar when that occurred. They were probably so busy thinking about their own problems, and you're thinking about how everything revolves around you, and they were trying to do this to spite you, when chances are that was not the case. Most people are tied up in their own worlds, not in your world. The third benefit of this is that it goes from making you defensive to being helpful. So instead of reacting defensively, you can react being like, you can clarify something right off the bat. I'm like, oh, I'm not sure what you meant by that. Oh, maybe you meant something else. Can I help you with this? You instantly go from reacting as if from a defensive, like someone's attacking you. When you assume error, now you're trying to help them rather than defend yourself. And the last and final point of this short little talk today is that change from being defensive to helpful in response to their action or word will then change their behavior. Because when you become defensive, people will pick up on that and they don't know why you're becoming defensive, and now they're assuming things about you. So like, oh, so-and-so was really off today. They don't know that they said something because they said something in error. They don't know how you responded. And then they see that you responded defensively, but they didn't know what they did. And then now they're acting weird around you. Getting into a complex web here. So when you assume error and you act as helpful instead of defensive, people will see you now as someone who's a helpful person, when you act not defensively, it's a major thing in terms of how much, one, it acts from a maturity standpoint, two, from a charismatic standpoint. The most charismatic people are not caught up in themselves. So you instantly become more charismatic, you instantly become more caring, and you instantly become more helpful by assuming someone else is stupid. Sounds crazy. It's true. I hope this was helpful. This is Doc Yates, signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to the Paramena Bliss podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and visit paramenobliss.com for more valuable information on how you can thrive during your transition through perimenopause. Join our community of like-minded women who are dedicated to achieving optimal health naturally, and stay up to date with the latest tips, tricks, and advice from Dr. Seth Yates. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Paramena Bliss podcast.